And now we move into a workshop of the McAllen City Commission held in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. All workshops are open to the public and serve as an opportunity for city staff to present detailed information, reports, and updates to the Commission in preparation for future action or decisions. While no formal votes are taken during these sessions, workshops play an important role in the city's policymaking and decision-making process.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's City Commission meeting. We'll begin. What do we have? Questions to staff regarding the meeting today at 5?
No
Any
questions,
questions? No, if not, let's
No.
go to item number 2. Mario?
The workshop.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. I'll be presenting on downtown mobility initiative that we've undertaken so far. We'll look at the free downtown circulator that we're working on. Look at enhanced mobility infrastructure, recent federal partnership downtown, as well as downtown economic development and revitalization. So some of the current challenges that we have downtown is limited parking near key destinations. Then that creates short distance vehicle trips that create congestion downtown. And then visitors may be unfamiliar with parking options. And there's also a need for enhanced pedestrian experience. And so what that does is it creates an opportunity for a seamless mobility network downtown that connects restaurants, retail, entertainment, offices, and public parking. So using mobility as an economic development tool. So the circulator, and currently we're running some dry runs just to make sure that we have the timing and everything in place. So it is open to the public. We haven't officially launched it, and so we've had a handful of people get on it. And so we're working on getting some feedback on that as well. It'll operate Fridays and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's no fare. And the idea is that it connects parking destinations, it encourages people to visit downtown, reduces parking pressure, and supports local businesses. So the idea is to park once and enjoy the whole downtown. We do intend to do an official launch on June 19th, potentially in the afternoon, so more of that information is forthcoming. I mentioned about federal partnership. So we're leveraging Federal Transit Administration support. So by having that circulator, we've designated the parking garage as an eligible park and ride, and so that allows us to get operating and maintenance funds to help offset, the cost to run the garage. And so we would get 50% of our operating costs subsidized by the Federal Transit Administration and 80% of preventative maintenance costs as well. And we're eligible to get capital grants for improvements, remodeling and stuff like that. So that's something that we're going to start to work on. This was a recent development, and the driving kind of force behind that was that circulator that now designates the parking garage as a transit park and ride facility. So again, it reduces our local financial burden, maximizes existing infrastructure, and creates long-term sustainability, as well as having some streetscape improvements. So the initiative will help support and drive our mobility goals as we try to bring more people to downtown, make it more attractive and walkable for folks. So a vision for downtown McAllen. The picture is just for illustration purposes, but we want a downtown where residents can park once, move easily, explore safely, and support local businesses. With increased customer access, stronger event attendance, people can enjoy public spaces and enhance property values. So the initiative represents a strategic investment in mobility, economic development, and quality of place that will benefit residents, businesses, and visitors for years to come. And that's a short presentation, but wanted to give you guys an update of what we're doing downtown.
So I just wanted to interject. I didn't say anything before Mario started. One of the things that we heard loud and clear as we worked through some of the challenges we've had in the downtown area was that businesses were looking for the city to put some investment into downtown and make it a user-friendly space. And we thought this was a good place for us to start, to enhance mobility, making the parking garage a convenient place for people to start from, move throughout the downtown area, and then with the resources that flow from that, we can, like the illustration provided, start working on plans to put some investment into the infrastructure downtown that the city controls to make it as comfortable a space as possible for people. We do have several investors looking at moving into the downtown area with coffee shops, restaurants, and so we certainly want to support the creative minds and the retail community thinking about moving down there. So I challenged Mario to see if he could come up with a quick solution for us to take immediate action, and I think he did a pretty good job at a first draft. So we want your feedback for sure.
Mario, is that, how many buses? One or two?
It'll be one bus running roughly about every 20 to 30 minutes.
So they'll do the whole turn in 20 minutes?
Yes.
The whole,
And-
pro-
and-
oh, no, no.
Yeah, I mean, we're like I said, we're doing some dry runs. Hope to launch on the 19th. We'll send that information, but ultimately you can make adjustments to the alignment as needed. If you saw the map, we do intend to go north of the Central Business District for the markets on Main, so be able to get people from downtown to that area as well. And again, the demand will dictate what we do in the future. I think this is a good start for us. It's running on Fridays and Saturdays. We are making modifications to one of our routes in the general vicinity to hit the parking garage during the weekdays, so that we have bus service to the garage every day of the week.
But that's bus service, that's not doing the whole route.
Right.
Why only Fridays and Saturdays?
Well, primarily because that's when the heavier traffic days are in downtown, and so we want to test to see how that system will work on those days, and we can expand beyond that if we feel that that's something that is warranted.
Are we targeting the neighborhoods north of 83 to have a quicker way to get downtown without having to walk? In other words, what's the impetus for actually wanting to drive this, other than the fact that there's federal funding to support it?
Well, I think one of the things that we want is to move people with more efficiency downtown.
Okay.
We have people that want to park right in front of a store because they don't want to walk. Well, if you park in the garage, you can take the trolley and get around the entirety of downtown without having to move your car again and again and again, and that hopefully reduces congestion. So that's kind of the premise behind it. I mean, we feel that it certainly can help to attract more people, but also investing in service downtown will leverage federal funding to do more improvements, more extensive sidewalks, more walkability.
Is streetscaping eligible for this type of funding?
Now that we have this route, yes, it certainly is.
The second is, do we have any sort of metric that we're looking at in terms of number of trips, expansion of the route? I know that if the route takes 20 minutes to go all the way around, and you park near downtown garage, I think it's quicker just to walk to where you want to get rather than to pick up the bus to get there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there are people that will say, hey, I'm going to walk, but there are others that may not have that.
Yeah, they're not
capability to
ambulatory or
move around,
something.
and they'll take the bus in 110-degree weather downtown. So,
True.
So
I just think that Friday and Saturdays is too, I think we should, well, I've seen movement, on weekdays in the downtown area. I have. And even Sundays, they have some Sunday traffic.
So the weekends are a place for us to start to gather some data. We are certainly open to expanding this service if we see that it's something that the community buys into.
Are we looking at that if the bus in the period of time that runs does 50% trips per circle or repetition, I mean, is that the metric we're looking at? To say, hey, okay, we can expand the route,
Well, I think
or
we'll
it's
look
not
at.
working?
I think we'll look at the demand. We'll certainly use social media outlets to get feedback from our customers and determine whether, the alignment that has been brought up or the times work. And if not, again, we're not necessarily married to this, but it's a start for us. And if there's a greater demand, we'll certainly look to expand.
Does this require the additional bus stops or signages or benches?
Yeah, we're working on that
As well.
on additional signage. What it doesn't require is any adjustment to our budget. But if we needed to expand, then at that point, we would need to make an adjustment to the budget. So this is something that we're able to do with current resources. Should there be a demand and a need for it, then we can request additional resources to
Okay,
expand.
so I was lying. This is really the last question. How soon do you want to implement or look at?
So we're doing dry runs now, and although we haven't officially launched it, we are running it on Fridays and Saturdays, and we're letting people get on the bus if they want.
Oh.
We've seen a handful of people get on. Obviously, once we put it out there officially, and we'll market it, and then we expect to get more people using it.
I understand it's a starting point, but were any surveys taken from any of the businesses or people downtown regarding route or anything from the Men Collective, or this is just our best guess as a starting point?
We wanted to do something now.
But the other thing is, we're also doing a study regarding that. How's that coming along?
Michelle, what was the last update from Mend? We're looking at another workshop to give you some feedback from them in the next couple of 3 weeks, right? June 28th?
We're gonna have to start working it together.
So we have results from them already. And by the way, I'm not going to spoil the surprise. This does fit into what they talked to us about.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea, and I would imagine that they're going to have some comment on it and some suggestions on it as well. The 20 to 30 minute route time, I think, is concerning. I think it's a great idea to connect downtown with some other areas that are adjacent and promote people getting in and out of downtown. But if the goal is to reduce congestion just in the downtown area, a 20 to 30 minute time frame isn't going to work. There is potentially the ability to add a second bus that just circles around downtown while you have one that goes in and out of downtown and brings people in and out. I think that is something you could do, one that has one color and one that has another, so people know which one they're getting on. I think that it's a great benefit having that parking garage, but unless you just can't physically walk, to Commissioner Zamora's point, I don't think you're going to sit there, park downtown, and wait for 30 minutes for a bus to come around to walk 2 or 3 streets over. So I would personally look at that. I also think that, again, I understand it's a starting point. I think that's great, but you got to simplify the map. There's too much there. It's too difficult to read. People need to understand where things are and where the points of connectivity are. I'm sure there will be signage out on the streets where people can access it, but having, some maps on the, Main Street and Business 83 or some other points where people have, or at Heritage Center, wherever the case may be, have an idea where they can pick up and get dropped off would be beneficial to have a simplified visual.
A couple things. So we will have visuals in the downtown area. We also have access to our mobile app, so people will be able to get on the mobile app and get precise, location of vehicles and stuff like that. So all those amenities that we have on our regular fixed routes will also be available on the circulator. The benefit of operating, to start Fridays and Saturdays is we could easily go from 20, 30 minutes to 10, 15-minute headways by adding one vehicle, which is not, in terms of resource utilization, is not a whole lot. I mean, it's certainly something that we could pretty quickly do if that was.
Don't get me wrong. None of what I'm saying is a criticism. I think I agree. It's a great starting point. You've got to start somewhere. So this is a great place to be. I do encourage, some communication with businesses and landlords and those that are utilizing downtown to get feedback on what might be really helpful and beneficial and additive to the plan as we go along. So try to get additional buy-in from those that are really more affected.
Yeah, I think that's a great comment, Commissioner, and hopefully they'll help us advertise it too.
And on your, if you have an app that's going to focus on this, I would certainly suggest putting a QR code on any of the maps or and signage wherever you're going to have it, so people can access it wherever they happen to be looking.
Is this the actual bus, the one that you showed? That we're
Yeah,
gonna use?
so this is the one that's in the picture? No. No, we have actually at the very beginning, we do have the official trolley. So that is our trolley that we have, so we can,
It's
depending
a
on.
big bus, that's what I'm saying. It has a lot of capacity.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go. Next item.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mario.
Yes.
Sure, everybody.
Want to get started?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commission, City Manager, thank you. We have a quick update on the stimulus capital project that we had started for alley upgrades. I'm here with Mario Cruz, the Deputy City Engineer, and Robert Trevino, the Public Works Director. Just in case there's any questions about ongoing maintenance or anything like that, I asked Robert if he wanted to join, and so we're here today. My first slide, I just want to take you back a little bit on how we developed the list for the alleys and the scoring we did for the alleys, and then we'll go over the three sections we did of alleys, and then where we're at in those three sections. So just to give everybody an idea, we have 141 miles of alleys. When you add up, here on the left side, it's actually 142. There's like point something, so it should have been 142 miles. Of that, 54% are asphalt, 28% in the city are caliche, and then 18% have had millings put on the caliche to help stabilize those. Those aren't actual asphalt alleys. Those are they look like asphalt alleys because the Public Works Department has developed a formula where they put a little oil and it sticks really well. But during rains and that, they do need a lot more care than an asphalt alley. And so, just to give the commission an idea, we have 141 miles of alleys throughout the city. By district, on the next slide, we break this down of how many miles are paved and non-paved per alley. And then on the right side of this slide, we show what it would take to take the alleys that are inventory that is currently unpaved to paved, doing a rough estimate on the cost of an alley. And so, for instance, I'll just take one example. District 2 has 0. They have 100% of the alleys paved. Newer district, so the alleys, as part of the subdivision process, were required to be paved. When we look at District 1, 90% are paved. It's a newer district, and they had, most of that district had the requirements through subdivision to pave it. But nonetheless, it would take $1 million to get that last 10% paved. When we look at the district with that has the most outstanding alleys, you have one that has 60%, and that would take approximately $5.6 million. And this slide was done about a year and a half ago, so that cost obviously has an escalator, but it gives you a rough estimate of the cost to take all our alleys and get them all paved. We estimate that to be $25 million. We put that out just to give you an estimate of what it takes to go get all those alleys into a paved fashion. The next slide that I'll
Sir,
show is.
Sorry, Eduardo.
Yes, sir.
Right down on District 3, so when you say non-paved 10, are you referring to the caliche and millings, or they're still pending that will be possibly paved?
That's 10 miles, I'm sorry, and we should have put miles, that's 10 miles of alleys that are unpaved. And so that's either caliche or millings, that's considered unpaved to us.
Okay, would they possibly be paved at any time, or that's not going to happen?
Right now, and I'll go through the slide, is we were allotted $3.6 million to look at new alleys. There isn't a current program for alleys in our budget at this time. This was stimulus money that was given to us, and so basically a one-time slug that we went through and made an effort to bring some alleys up to the standard of being paved.
Okay, thank you.
And so on the next slide, again, just kind of like I referenced, we had stimulus funds. We were asked to look at how many alleys we could pave with $3.6 million. We went out and took 9% of that budget to get design services, $287,000. That brought us down to about $3.2 million that we were left over for paving. And our attempt was to pave 5.5 miles of alleys and through this. We worked with the Public Works Department to develop a strategy on how to categorize which alleys should be prioritized first. And then between the two departments, we used a little common sense. We're trying to finish out some end sections where maybe it just made sense to finish an alley here or there that may have scored higher scored lower, but just made sense in the continuity of things. And so on the next slide, we show out of the 5.5 miles, we identified alleys based on 4 conditions. And Public Works staff went out and looked at some of this. So the first thing we did is if your surface condition was poor, fair, or good. And so the drivers went out and they gave it a condition of 50, 25, or 0. Then they looked at the pavement surface, and if it was dirt, caliche, or millings, in a good, fair, or good condition, and that was given a percentage of the points that were added. The next thing we looked at is driveway connections. Was the alley being used as for driveways? Some alleys in the city, there is not rear access.
Right.
And so they're less used, and so that was part of the criteria we used is this alley actually being driven? The next step we looked is this alley being used for a garbage route or trash route, sorry. And if it wasn't, so then there wasn't as much deterioration, and so that got a lower score. And if it was, we gave it a score of 15.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
Explain again the difference between surface condition and pavement condition?
So the surface condition was if it was, they gave it a poor, fair, or good, and then the next one is the dirt. It actually is not fair, good, poor, fair, and good. It's just dirt, caliche, milling, and they got a score.
Got it. Thank you.
That second box could say material.
Yeah, I mean, we could have got rid of it.
Okay.
So then this is how on the next slide, we developed three alley sections that we bid out. Right now, we currently have bid out A and C and completed A and C. Map's kind of small. You'll probably have to look at it on your slides. When you try to put a lot of information on the slides, it's difficult to see. But we've finished section A. If we slide to section B, this one is currently just bid out. This is the last section that we have left. And then we have section C that was completed last year. A and C were completed last year, and B is ongoing this year.
And B is still in the $3 million that we have budgeted.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
We
it is?
rolled that over through the budget process
Right, okay.
and bid that out this year.
Okay.
And so then we open it up for any questions that you may have. Just give a little history on alleys.
Do we have any alleys that we don't need? Now, what I mean by don't need, that there's nothing, no electricity, no anything.
No sanitation, nothing.
We haven't done a formal inventory of that. I'm sure there are some alleys. Even if there is utilities, you can retain an easement and release
Well,
those.
if we're not using it for trash, okay? If we're not using it for anything that is possibly small through traffic, okay, from the neighborhood, and if you can eliminate exactly a portion that is alley by giving half of it to one owner and half of it to the other owner, and you eliminate the need of any expense, and they gain some peace.
Property back.
I'm just
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
right? Yeah, I mean, those things, there can't be too many of them, but if there are, I think we should. We don't want to put any more expense than we need to. I mean, you have to think about what we're doing here with alleys. You know, when you bought your house, it either had an alley or it didn't have an alley. I mean, District 2 does not have any alleys, very few alleys. Why? Because that neighborhoods that were built did not have alleys. They're alleys, okay? So that's why there's not a need to pave.
Except
A lot of District 2's, those type of residential communities. District 1, some of those also, and some of them you can see that they are. But in the middle of town, I guess the older part of town always had a dirt caliche alley, you know? That's the way the matrix was done,
the Paloma.
you know? In all areas, there's a vast in the middle of town. So I guess if there is not a need in some of those areas to have that thorough alley, I mean, you have to just look at them, and they probably welcome the additional land, okay?
Yeah, and we have had, Commissioner, over my years here, a handful of residents actually approach the city with that exact request. Michelle and I could probably go back through our notes and come up with the number that we've had on maybe our four hands. There aren't too many of them, but it's certainly an
Well,
inventory.
but-
It's certainly
but
an
it-
inventory that, and an exercise that would be worth us going through,
Yeah.
and we're happy to do
If
it.
it's not rear entry, or if the trash doesn't have to go through there,
Yeah.
maybe we can get rid of it.
Right.
But there's other things, I mean, yeah, I'm all for doing some improvements. And I think a lot our public works, you know, they maintain, you know, alleys and potholes in alleys and whatever. So, yeah, if we could work something out, it'd be nice, but to take on and putting $20 to $25 million in the back of ad valorem taxes, well, no, we gotta figure out a different way of doing it. Yeah.
The alleys are one feature, though, that homeowners really feel like they're getting something from the city. When they get upgraded in and out from a dirt or a caliche alley to a paved alley, they really feel like the city is taking care of them. And I think if we can do it,
But
we ought
if
to
it's
look
something,
at it.
and I agree, but if
No,
it's something we
just-
can get rid of,
No disagreement that if there's no need for an alley to be upgraded, then we should save on spending that. But on those areas where it does make sense, I'm fully in favor of
Yeah.
trying to do so if we can.
I agree with him because in my area, District 3, it's an old neighborhood. Most of them, 90%, they're old neighborhoods, and they do rely on the alleys. The city relies on the alleys to pick up trash. So coming back to what Commissioner Aguirre said, that if you can distribute some money over here to this other side, we welcome that.
The
Just to
other
think-
part,
just to
the
think
other
it out.
part that you don't necessarily, that hadn't really been talked about on here is, connectivity to other city access points, like getting to hike and bike trails. There are a ton of areas that don't have sidewalks. And so, because I do it, I run and I walk my dogs down those streets that don't have sidewalks, and I'm constantly fearful of getting hit. I go down the alley sometimes just to get from one place to another where it's a safer walking zone, and, I see people in those areas also. So it's not just the drive, it's not just the trash, but, unless we're putting sidewalks everywhere, the alleys can be used somewhat for that as well.
Yeah, so I appreciate that comment. I think it's well taken. We'll look, as we're working on the capital projects that we propose for next budget year, to see what we think we can accommodate. Like Eduardo said when his presentation began, the money that was put into this program was some stimulus money that the city received, and the commission at the time made some decisions about how they wanted to reinvest that back into the city. To the extent somebody bought an alley with an expectation that it would be caliche or otherwise, as we come back in and add enhancement to that, yes, it certainly will help improve property values and the conditions in the area. We'll do as much of that as we can, keeping up with the rest of the capital improvement that we'll need to talk about in the coming weeks over the summer.
I also think that the new budget coming in, we can probably do something because we're wasting more money on, we have caliche, in my area, we have a lot of caliche callejones, right? But every time it rains, it starts getting holes, and and then if we got the big trucks going by, it just gets worse. So at the long term, we're still wasting money on caliche, putting new caliche. Why don't we just pave it? And and the pavement too, because if you got heavy trucks going through there, even though it's still blacktop, it's gonna damage with the water. So we gotta see how we can try to look at it, see which will be at the long term, right? At the long term,
Long-term investment.
it'll be better for us.
Okay, all trash pickup through the front.
Well, we don't have.
That's a
we
good
don't have
point,
trash
Mayor. That's right. I mean,
through
if their trucks are using it to pick up trash, I think that's a reasonable idea.
Yeah. The ARPA, are these ARPA funds?
I think they were already used. The ARPA funds, they were originally ARPA funds, but they were already used and they recouped the money back and then they got put into this program.
And when was that?
I'm looking at Angie, it's about 3 years ago, Angie.
And we're just now getting to it now?
So what, it's been about a 2-year program. 1 year we designed, 1 year we
Oh, I see.
implemented, and
Got it.
then due to the amount of projects we could handle, we pushed this one off to this year. And so Section B is getting done this year.
Well, it's getting done right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, we'll recess into executive session.